Hey guys, and welcome to a battle between myself leading the forces of the Greenskins up against S92I leading the forces of the Undead, the Von Carsteins, with Vlad Daddy as their main leader. Of course, we are going to be using Grimgor Einhide. Now, this is a battle I did in fact play on stream, but it was kind of a fun battle and it showcased some of the new Greenskin forces. So I wanted to show it again anyway. And my opponent did quick lock in, so I had to kind of rush pick a build, kind of panicked, and we ended up with a Death Star, which is kind of good fun. You're often going to see the new Greenskins going incredibly wide because of how WoW works, but going up against Undead, they're going to have a lot of troops in combat anyway, so I thought, we can go a little bit smaller. In the front lines, we do have some of the elite, the Black Orcs with their huge cleaving axes, looking incredibly badass here. Not sure if they got a slight tweaks to their models at all, considering that they are the latest Greenskin DLC, but they look a little bit different to me. Also in the front lines we have some Orc Biggins as well. They can do pretty good in this matchup, go toe-to-toe with some of the large creatures, and of course tear apart the puny ones. In the back lines, we have double Night Goblin Fanatics here. Going to be trying to use them in a secondary line to ensure we can get those Fanatics off before the enemy does engage and start crumping us. In our centre pocket, we have an Arachnarok Queen, the old school Queen of the Jungle Red Round Spider. Deals with anti-large, help deal with Terrorgeists and all that kind of good stuff, and of course can summon Hatchlings. We do have Da Bacon, the Regiment of Renowned Rogue Idol. Now, a unit that I don't think is going to be terribly competitive overall, but I wanted to showcase it, and this is one of the matchups I feel like it can do okay. It comes in with this big old arm-throwing rock drops, much like the Cygor. As you can see, one of the rocks is already lifted in his hand here. And he can target down Sternsman and all kinds of nastiness. Mainly focusing on Graveguard would probably be the best bet for him. But also is a very decent melee combatant, of course. Counts known for struggling to take down large threats. We have a giant River Troll Hag as well coming in, showcasing the new spellcast. Not only is she horribly disgusting to look at, and there's a very big droopy nose of warts all over her, but she can be pretty powerful. We're bringing Miva, which is a nice slow effect. She of course has her Swamp Breath, as well as the Purple Sun, Soul Blight, and Spirit Leech. But the main guy you're here for, the reason that this entire DLC should revolve around, and the entire change for Grimgor, is that he's bigger, he's better, and he's harder. We did forget to bring most of his abilities, unfortunately, in special new buffs, but we do get Your Next, which is a nice slow melee attack and melee defense debuff, making him a very powerful duelist, and he does have Get Back here, of course. Best of the best, so if an enemy, lord or hero is nearby, he's going to be gaining plus 10%, or plus 10, sorry, melee defense, and plus 11% damage resistance, which is very powerful. And of course, he is immune to psychology, which I think could be very key in this matchup. Now, for my opponent, he's gone for a very wide line of zombies, mixed in with skeleton warriors as well, looking to try and wrap around me as quickly as possible. In the secondary line, we do have Graveguard, looks like 3 units of the basic ones, and the Sternsman in the back. These guys, of course, have regeneration, and they're probably the most sticky unit in the game. He has brought the Claw of Nagash, Vlad Von Carstein on foot, and over on this right-hand side, triple of Vargeist. Something I haven't seen much at all. Interesting to see what his idea was behind this and how they are going to perform. They don't have too good targets. They can try and snipe out the giant River Troll Hag, but she's a sturdy beast in general, and with the spider nearby, it can be a little bit tough. So we're simply going to be taking the defensive approach. We do have the high ground, trying to make Obi-Wan as proud as possible. And we're throwing in rocks. Up to 15 kills on the Sterns, but it's certainly no small feat. As the glorious boulders do come in, and a little bit of a swing and miss on that one. Captures 2 of those guys at the death there. We're slowly, whittling them down, as they could be a big problem and help munch through our front line. We're going to try and keep nice tight as possible in this little Death Star build. And get the value where we can from the Night Goblins along the front lines. Another big rock coming in, doing some okay contact, I think. Down to 73 models, not too bad. Up to 17 kills here. And I'm just keeping an eye on these Vargeist, keeping the spider in a central location so I can go, tit for tat wherever they do land. Giant River Troll Hag just wandering around. I'm contemplating Spirit Leeching the Claw of Nagash at this point, as of course it's going to be a big problem. I didn't bring anything to do with ethereal units, as pretty much nothing in my army does consistent magic damage. In comes the zombies, shambling up the hill, kill us! As they do ride forwards up into the Black Orcs. Not going to be a very fun time for these guys. I wonder if zombies actually, if they're self-aware, and if so, that'd be a horrible life to be a self-aware zombie. Skeleton warriors are going to be charging into Orc Biggins, and Black Orcs charging downhill into the zombies. So they're going to be cleaving that quickly as Grimgor leaps into combat and instantly up to 5 kills. Already a big improvement, I say, on what he was before. So we are just waiting at the moment with the Night Goblins for the Grave Guard to get engaged before we do start dropping down those big attacks. Giant River Troll Hag going to be hopping into the front line as well as the Arachnarok Spider. And now we're starting to move in with the Night Goblin Fanatics. You can see them whirling down the flank here, doing good damage to the zombies and also helping to do a little bit of damage to the Grave Guard. Up to 14 kills straight away on one cast isn't too bad at all. Looks like the other unit just chilling for now. Now in comes the Vargeist trying to snipe out my caster, which was kind of to be expected. Courtiers has been popped as well, debuffing all of these troops. So we are going to move in the Arachnarok Queen to help deal with the Vargeist here. And the big un is going to start moving into combat. So he's been debuffed with basically everything under the book here. But the Blackhawks simply going to carve their way through the forces and allow the big un to, recover, gain his breath and get back into the action. Now, I was a little bit worried about all these Vargeists coming in, but for us, they're doing very limited damage down on the Giant River Troll Hag, and the Spider up to 10 kills already, just pulling these guys apart, doing some really great work. We do have some more Fanatics going down the front line here on Graveguard and doing some pretty good work, and the war has been popped, going up relatively quickly due to the sheer amount of combatants my enemy does have. And in comes the bigger now. He's not debuffed anymore, going to be coming in here with the war. He's still got minus 40 melee attack actually, but he's going to slowly start crumping on these gits. We do have a purple sun coming down as well, just trying to clear up some Graveguard where possible. For the most part, it's going to go with Vlad doing very little damage. But Graveguard quite happy in the front line, and as you can see, this assassination attempt has gone literally nowhere. The Death Hag was incredibly healthy still, if I can find her. There she is. And the Spider happily feasting on these guys. We do summon some Spider hatches in the back just to be a pain and harass troops. And finally, Vlad does get in combat. Soulblight has been popped low, debuffing the armor of all of these troops in this big clump, which is of course very effective. Now, opponent doing a bit of a misplay here. The Cloth Nagash does indeed need to be in combat before it actually starts debuffing and getting all its special effects. And the big one has gone into the back lines here. We're quite comfortably now tearing through all of the chaff. Just going to be leaving these isolated Vargeist who are currently being spirit leashed to death. Not many of those guys left at all. And Vlad's on his own, which, they need the chaff here realistically. Black Hawks up to 140 kills here, just chopping their way through Skeleton Warriors and Zombies, not fighting anything too elite. There are some Graveguard mixed in here as well, but nothing the Black Hawks can't handle. And another swinging loony Fanatics coming down the line here, getting some really good value overall, up to 116 kills on these Night Goblins. It's become a very potent ability indeed. We do have to begin stacking on top of Grimgor here, just keeping him safe to make sure there's no assassination attempts. The Arachnarok Queen here as well, so dragging down the Vargeist. Not too much my opponent can do at this point. Balance power has started going relatively heavy in my favour. Begin up to 99 kills now. Even with all the debuffs they've been placed on him, it's not been too bad. My opponent being a little bit cautious with Vlad and the Claw of Nagash. He certainly needs to begin getting those guys in as early as possible, as now they're relatively isolated there. And in come the Vargeist, trying to do a nice road attack with Blackhawks, trying to break them. Not too bad of an attempt, but Grimgor is in here, lifting his mighty blade. He will certainly do some huge damage as the Giant River Troll Hag just thumps one of those Vargeist with her meat sack here, doing some decent damage, and clap! In comes the big un, taking down a few more models as well. Over on the left side, not doing too bad as well. Orc big uns just clearing up one or two last Graveguard. We do have Night Goblin Fanatics coming over as well. Going to be looking to swing some more Fanatics through, I'm sure. Even there's not too many troops left for my opponent here. We do have some Spider Hatchlings summoned just to get their rear attack on the Vargeist to try and break them off as quickly as possible as the Hero Squad does start to advance. In comes the Fanatics here. Moving in to do some sneaky shanking. They do unleash some more Fanatics as well. Cast them away from the main threat. Only getting 1 or 2 kills, but it's probably worth it overall. And in comes Grimgor. He sees Vlad and he wants vengeance. And Blood comes in with a big overarching swing there. And help from the big un as well. Certainly going to turn this into a favourable engagement for us. Looks like Vlad going to be running for the hills, but army losses has set in. His forces are crumbling. There's not too much left. We've slowed down the Claw of Nagash, so there is no escape. The Giant River Hag will beat them to death. As Vlad von Karstein, you're next, mate, and he gets cleaved in two there by Grimgor, it seems, as he gets flung to the ground and finished. So a Pyrrhic victory, although we had quite a few of our big single entities very healthy towards the late game there. But well played to my opponent nonetheless. Interesting build. Not sure if the Vargeist are a fantastic pick here. I suppose they probably could do blocking the pump wagons and so forth and hop on top of arch lines and stuff. It may have been my build which did surprise him. As I said earlier, the death builds don't count out, especially against enemies who are going to field a ton of troops, because the war, the new mechanic now revolves around the amount of troops in combat, but that includes the enemies, of course. And yeah, decent kills across the board by the Night Golem Fanatics. One unit getting a particularly high amount of kills of some of those swinging loonies. And the Orc Biggins and the Black Orcs, of course, very strong centre. 193 kills on these guys, doing some huge damage. The Arachnoid Queen allows me to protect the back line from big threats. Helps to even deal with, Blood Knights, Vargolfs, all that type of good stuff. And then we just allow the Biggin to clear up all the chaff. And this is one of the few matchups I can see him being very potent. The Rogue Idol probably a little bit better than the Regiment Renowned version, but at the same time, those rocks did some damage, and I can also see it being pretty good up against the Beastmen. Grimgor certainly has been improved a decent amount, even though he didn't have too much to contend with in this engagement, but I do like him quite a bit. Still probably one of the weaker Greenskin Lords, but that's only now because all of the Lords are so goddamn powerful. And the Giant River Troll Hag didn't get to see the best of her abilities here, but you did get to see that she's relatively tanky and hard to snipe if you do not have fire damage, luring the enemy in and allowing that queen to feast. Anyway guys, hope you did enjoy. If you did, please do consider giving the video a big old thumbs up and subscribing if you haven't already. We do all kinds of Total War content. We have a tournament coming on Monday as well. It's going to be a load of good fun. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.